It's the Cornermen Radio Live with BARZINI. Shout out to the whole LDBC, man, and the whole Lions Den boxing community, man. Yo, rest in peace to all the people who lost their lives on this big tragic day, September 11th. My condolences to all the family and friends and loved ones who lost a loved one on September 11th. You know, let's have a moment's silence for September 11th for all the victims that lost their lives, suffered a tragedy, man. Hey, Dennis Hogan?
Yeah, man. How you going?
Hey, how's it going, man? Welcome to the Cornermen Radio, man. I want to tell you, man, I really apologize with these timings, man. I'm getting together. I'm kind of, there's little difficulties and things because I'm not used to the time difference. I'm thinking it's Tuesday for the both of us, and its end up is Wednesday. Because I remember it's 11 hours. Ahead of us. But welcome to the show, man. It's a real honor to have you on, man. I'm glad to have you on, man. So how you been doing?
Yeah, man, I've been good. Thanks very much for the invite onto the show. It's great to be here speaking with you. I mean, I'm really good. I'm training hard, and we're trying to push that for that world title fight. So I mean, it's a good position I'm in right now, and I'm quite happy.
Right. You sound a little low. Can you talk up a little bit so everybody can hear you and thing?
Okay, cool. So is that a bit louder now, yeah?
Yeah, a little louder, yeah.
Okay.
So, all right. So, what you got to be in the number one WBO contender. How does it feel, and what made you become the number one contender?
Okay, so I mean, it feels good. I mean, yeah, the goal was always to be world champion and then unified world champion. So, I just knew I didn't want to take any shortcuts, man. I just went, okay, let's do whatever it's going to take to get me there as quick as I can. So, last October, we were able to lock in getting the number 7, a Japanese fighter in Yuki Nanaka. So we got him to Australia. I had a shutout win there against a good opponent in Nanaka, and then we went, okay, who do we have to beat next to get mandatory? So we, I was ranked number 2 when I fought Jimmy Kelly from England. He was number 3. So I had a pretty comprehensive win there too. So that was last April. So now I've been sitting there ready to. I mean, I should have had my shot. I was next in line when I was going to be getting my shot when Liam Smith and Saddam Ali were meant to fight off. I was meant to be next, and then Liam Smith had to pull out with some condition, and Jaime Munguia got a shot, and he got in and beat Saddam Ali. So he then became the champion, and then Smith was still mandatory. He got his shot. So I've just been on the sidelines a little bit since, and things didn't go my way in terms of the way we expected things would. Like in boxing, obviously, there's always little twists and turns in the game plan. So it didn't work out well. But so I mean, I'm next in line now for Jaime Munguia. He opted to fight Brandon Cook. I do believe is number 3 or 4 in the rankings. So that it is what it is. We're going to watch and see how that goes. But I mean, I should be next, man. We wanted to know, what do I need to do? I know I'm number 1, but what do we need to do to become mandatory? And since back, we've got no indication on what we actually need to do. But we want that world title fight next. I've been training for it. I'm ready to go.
Right, man. I'm really excited for you, Mr. Hogan, man. Really excited. I'm glad you're number 1. I thought you would have got a big fight before, but it's coming. It's coming your way. I guess patient is virtue and all that. So,
yeah.
But my thing is, what's your thoughts on Jaime Munguia, and what do you think of him as a champion, and what do you think of him as a future opponent for you to fight next?
Yeah, okay. I mean, I was there when he beat Saddam Ali, and I mean, as that was going down, it was pretty much a bit of a shock. it looked like he was very, very powerful. Now, we obviously knew by his record he was powerful, but he was completely dismantling Saddam Ali. But that didn't really shock me that much, because Saddam was he's a welterweight. He's not a good size super welterweight. So there was no real shock there. It wasn't as bad as it looked, because we knew that, you know, me being a solid super welterweight, that wouldn't, you know, it wouldn't go down that way. So then when we seen him fight Liam Smith next, that went down like, you know, it didn't have as much effect with the power. I mean, he's still very powerful. There's no doubt about that. But it was a good two solid super welterweights in a division, and it went down good. Now, what me and my coach saw as we were watching it was, we saw lots of ways that I could really manipulate when I was, to be fighting Munguia. We said, okay, this is exactly what we wanted to see. There was lots of stuff with the movement, with the movement patterns, and with a game plan we could work out that would really give Munguia problems, and we could beat Munguia. We walked away from that knowing if we get Munguia, we will beat him. So it gave me a lot of confidence, you know, and so ever since that, you know, we've just been doing whatever we can to get that fight. So it's a tough one, but you know, once we get that fight, we will be ready to get a win and become champion.
Right. So, since you brought up Brandon Cook, he's number 3 or number 4 in the WBO rankings. Jaime Munguia and Brandon Cook is fighting this Saturday. What's your predictions on this fight? I haven't really thought about it. I do believe Munguia will get a win, and I do believe he will probably get a late stoppage. And I reckon that will be the way it will go. I do not believe Cook can get a win over Munguia in any category. I don't believe he has the power to hurt him. I don't believe he has the stamina to go with him, or even the skills to beat him. So it's Jaime Munguia all the way. Well, I talked on my show, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, about, I saw an article like a month ago that Julian Williams' trainer did an article with Boxing Insider, and they were talking about a WBO title eliminator against you and Julian Williams. And I talked about that matchup. I was like, man, this is such an amazing fight, because now maybe the WBO can force you to get a title shot, or whoever wins that fight a title shot, mandate that fight, because you've been saying you've been waiting on the sidelines and on the bleachers for a long time and trying to get your WBO title shot. So I was like, man, this is a beautiful fight. We just saw a Philadelphia fighter came to Australia to fight Billy Dibb to win for a title. So I'm like, why don't J-Rock be inspired just like Tevin Farmer did? Tevin Farmer came, and he's a fellow Philadelphia fighter. Tevin Farmer and Julian Williams, they're cool with one another. Do the same thing. And then I saw your manager and promoter said, Paul Keegan, he was like, yo, he don't believe Julian Williams wants a fight with you. He don't believe that he will come to Australia to fight you. What's your thoughts on the Julian Williams matchup, and how do you rate him as a fighter, and do you want to fight Julian Williams?
Okay, so when Munguia beat Smith, we were hearing the very next day that we were going to get offered a fight with J-Rock for the mandatory, and we were like, I was excited. I was like, yes, let's do that. Let's make it happen. I know from our end we can make it happen. If he wanted to come here, no problem. We thought he would make us an offer first, maybe, but I was really excited. I was like, brilliant. And then as it got later in the week, we're like, well, what's happening? Well, we haven't heard anything. Okay, 1 week turned into 2 weeks, and then we didn't hear anything, and it's like, well, what do we need to do? I'm next in line. Apparently, nobody nobody can bypass me unless they offer me to fight. So I'm still here kind of going, you know, who do I need to fight? I was excited because it seems like, you know, I am keen to fight people. A lot of people think I'm crazy because I want to fight people in the top 10, 5. I don't care. I was number 2 when I fought number 3. So I want to fight people in the top 5, top 10. So it just seems to me like those other guys don't want to do that. And look, I understand that. I mean, to them, I'll be just as dangerous as the champion, and they'd be right to think so. So maybe it's not worth it for those guys. I don't really know. But for me, I'm just here with my hand up saying, will anybody fight me for an eliminator? And can we get that done for an elimination? Because I can, with Munguia, he can pick off guys, cherry pick them as long as he wants, while I'm still sitting here at number 1, just being told to stay active. Well, I mean, why would I fight anybody if it's not going to get me anywhere? You know, I really do leave my heart and soul in the gym and a training camp when I'm going to fight somebody. And like, you know, so why would you do that for absolutely no gain? So we made contact with the number 11. He was the international champion. I'm currently the international or the intercontinental and the oriental champion. And we asked, would you fight us for an eliminator? They said they would. We were ready to make that fight happen. We asked the WBO, they would not sanction us for an eliminator. So we really don't know what we need to do next. But I'm up to fighting anybody, and I want to make that happen now. You know, so I know I'm destined to be world champion, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to get there. So we just want to get any fight. A fight with J-Rock would be very highly welcomed, and we would love if they'd make contact with us, and because it's me, the guy that they have to make contact with, because I'm next in line. So my hand is up. We're saying, ready, let's go, pick me.
Right. What have you ever got to see Julian Williams fights?
Oh, I did. I mean, you know, I know he's a great fighter. I mean, he's only had 1 loss, and it was a pretty even fight before he got caught against Charlo. So it goes to show he's right up there. He's right up there with those guys. And I've looked over his record. I mean, I've seen clips of him. He's flashy. I mean, I know he's good, but I mean, again, I know I can figure a guy out, and I can beat them, and I can work out a game plan where I can get in the flow, and I can outpunch them, outbeat them, and sometimes play at their own game. So I believe I would outwork Julian Williams, and you know, but again, he's right up there. You know what I mean? So I don't know what happens, guys. I think is to get to a position, and they don't want to ruin that by taking a risky fight. They want to, you know, get the fights where they know they can win. But I don't mind those fights. I want to get in those fights. You know what I mean? Let's do it. To me, I love boxing, and I'm going to be world champion. So let's have those fights.
Right. You know, it's so unique about this situation. Like I was telling when I did the show about the Williams and you against Williams, I was like, man, this is a perfect fight, man. The WBO should mandate this, a title eliminator, so we can have a true mandatory for Jaime Munguia, because Julian Williams is ranked number 2, you're ranked number 1. This is a perfect fight to be made. And I know you're from Ireland and thing, but we just saw, like I said, Farmer, a fellow Philadelphia, came to Australia and defeated Billy Dave. So you would think he would be inspired to do something like that, or be confident to fight you. But I don't know what's going on. Breadman, his trainer, Stephen Breadman Edwards, saying he likes the idea, but ain't nobody jumping to the idea. So it's really a unique situation, man.
I mean,
do you think he's a little afraid to come fight you?
No, I wouldn't be surprised if any of them are. And I don't mean that with arrogance. I don't mean that with cockiness. I mean that with confidence. I know that all the opponents that I've had, I get in a flow and I outbox these fellas. We work out a game plan. I stick to the plan and get the win. I'm improving out of sight every single fight, and I know that we can. You know, I've got a master trainer in Glenn Rushton, and we sit down. Glenn works out a plan, and throughout the training camp, I execute all the stuff I need to execute. throughout the game, throughout the fight camp, and we go into the fight knowing we will beat whoever. And I fully believe that all the guys in the top 15 know that it's all on the line, and they realise that I'm just such an unorthodox, tricky opponent. That's what it is. And again, I haven't even got anybody yet in recent years to get me to full level. I haven't hit my full gear yet. So I hit it in sparring every now and again when they get fresh opponents coming in fresh, and I got to ramp it up again. But every time I get into the fight, I just find the flow and I go at it, and I don't ever get to top gear yet. And I believe I need someone like Munguia. I need someone like that to get me into that top gear, to really show what's inside me and to really get that out, because that's what it is. And I think a lot of these guys know that. And again, mate, I have full respect for every single fighter in all of the rankings, and all the way down to 1,000, 1,800. I understand every fighter is dangerous. Every fighter has got all these abilities, but when it comes down to it, I've worked so hard, and we've got a great team around us that I'm ready for anybody now.
Right. When I saw Jaime Munguia fight Liam Smith, a lot of people today are saying like Liam Smith exposed Jaime Munguia, and he's a little too green. He's not ready for the world level. Do you agree with those assessments or statements that he's a little too green, or he got a little exposed by Liam Smith?
So I mean that perception of Munguia of being just an absolute, that feeling that we all had about GGG before he fought Jacobs, there was that sort of a feel about him through all the articles, everything else, especially after what he did to Saddam Ali. But when a good, strong, talented super welterweight got in against him, it did expose him to the point where me and Glenn looked at each other and we went, this is exactly what we wanted to see. We wanted to see this. Like we looked at, like Glenn was like, we'll get him no problem, and I fully agreed. Before I even seen the plan, Glenn's plans give me confidence. But even before we even worked out a plan, I understood. Okay, we can really get this guy, and we can really make a statement. So there was a lot of exposure going on there, yeah, throughout that fight. And another fight with Cook. I mean, if Cook was to get him the distance, well, then it's like all, then I do believe that that it was he has been what's the word? He has been, there's been a little bit more hype than what should have been. Again, he is the world champion. He has a good record, and he's got all that. So when I say in the fact of green, he is a deserved world champion. He's beaten some good guys there, and he is where he deserves to be. But is he at that real superior level? Definitely not, and not yet anyway.
Right. I love my Jaime Munguia. I think he's fun for the sport, but I also think his defense and the Liam Smith fight made him not as scary to get in the ring with anymore. We've seen that he has weakness and a lot of things that, like you said, with the Triple G, like everybody thought Triple G was this big old monster, and we found out that's not true. So just all you got to do is believe in your ability and have confidence in yourself, and you should prove that you one of the best or get the decision and get a title. But my next question for you, man, I was noticing like on social media that you were going to fight this month. Is that true, or when is your next fight? Or are you still waiting?
We're still waiting, but December 15th is what we're aiming towards. And what we're trying to do is, obviously, we don't know anything from Munguia because they're focused on this fight. If that fight was to come along in the meanwhile, well then yes, obviously I would move towards that. But in the meanwhile, we're looking to do whatever we can to consolidate the number one, the mandatory position. And we are doing everything we can to do that. And if we can get that for December 15th and then have a bit of a break over Christmas and we're getting lined up for the world title fight, or at least before the end of the year. I mean, I'm 33 years of age now, right? Now, I'm still very fresh. I still know I've got 5 of my best years left because I'm fresh of mind, I'm fresh of body, and I'm still in love with boxing. So I definitely have 5 years at my best. But I definitely want to push on now. It's not something where you'd sit back and you go, you know what, let's wait this out, let's see what's happening. I'm pushing. Let's get this, let's get in line, and let's make sure it has to happen. Because he can cherry pick. I'm not saying he's cherry picking out of fear or any, but he can cherry pick anybody out of the top 15 for as long as he wants without having to face the best, which is me. So that's how I see it, and we're doing whatever we can. If we can get a mandatory position for December 15th, or we can get Munguia before Christmas, beautiful. Let's do it. That's what we're aiming for.
Yeah, man, that would be so amazing, man. Like I said, since you coming back December 15th, man, you and J-Rod, I love that fight. If you can get your title shot with Munguia in December, because I'm hearing he's supposedly coming back December as well. So either or, if you get Julian Williams, awesome. If you get Jaime Munguia, you finally get your title shot because you worked hard for this. You have the hardest job in the world. You get punched in the face for a living. So we have to truly respect you because you are a true warrior, you know what I mean? And I respect every fighter that puts their life on the line, you know what I mean? But
yes.
I wanted to talk about predictions with you. Wait, before I get into predictions, what was your biggest fight in your professional career? I wanted to ask you that.
So, I mean, in terms of what do I look at was the most beneficial, or which one did I enjoy the most, or which?
No, so which one was the most, the biggest fight in hype and perception of your biggest fight, your biggest opponent with, how can I say it? Just the biggest opponent and popular opponent that you faced in your professional career. Who made Dennis Hogan become Dennis Hogan? Like the fans got rallied for and everything. Like who made Dennis Hogan become? Not saying like you, because you worked hard for this, but who put Dennis Hogan in the spotlight?
I mean,
what was your biggest
for me, it's been
championship win?
Look, to be honest with you, it's definitely just been a journey. But my last 2 opponents, you know, have obviously been, you know, because there's always been a lot of critics jump on, and I believe if you don't have critics, you're not doing a good job, or at least you're being too quiet. So I used to have lots of people jump, like on social media, you know, wonder, can Dennis go all the way, this, that, or the other? But when I got Yuki Nanaka last year, and I won on a shutout, all of a sudden that stopped. All the criticism stopped. I put on an absolute clinic, and then from that point, so I do believe that may have been it. But then when I was in line then to fight Jimmy Kelly, everybody knows, man, the English are tough, and he's been a great amateur on top of a great pro, and it was a great build up. And lots of other people, you know, lots of people doing YouTubers and, you know, all this kind of stuff. And everyone thought Kelly was going to win through the caliber of, you know, him growing up over by UK, which is on fire at the minute. And me, I mean, growing up, having this pro career there, and me being over here, which doesn't really get the respect it deserves, I believe. You know, and it's not really down to people being bad, and it's just down to a little bit of ignorance, I suppose. But when people looked at that, then they all thought, oh, Jimmy will blast Dennis out of the waters. But, you know, again, I had a comprehensive victory there again. So I do believe it's the last 2 fights with Nanaka and Kelly, because people have shut up now. People have just stopped, you know, doubting me, and they know that I'm in this to win, you know. And you know, so I mean, either or. Who do you believe was the bigger win in your opinion? I'd like to know.
I think it was Jimmy Kelly. I think maybe Jimmy Kelly. That's what I would say.
So I'd like to clarify there as well when I say that Australia has brilliant talent. Like, I mean, coming from, you know, when I see the domestic league in America, and I see what goes on around, like, you know, America's got an incredible domestic division. So does England, and I mean Ireland certainly have to come in leaps and bounds. But when I came to Australia, I couldn't believe how how much of a talent pool there was in the domestic league, and it really does make Australian fighters. And you look at the champions they've had in the last while. You've got Jeff Horn there, who's just after beat Manny Pacquiao. He did lose to Terence Crawford, but then you've got then you've got newly crowned an Irish Aussie like myself, TJ Doheny. You have Daniel Gill there for years. You had the likes of Mundine, and you've got Billy D. You've got all those guys for so long. I don't believe Australia has got the credit it deserves, and I definitely know that there's a brilliant domestic league here, and all that was missing for a couple of fighters that could have made it like that was just those top 15 fighters. Those in between fights that you fight a couple of world ranked contenders, and then you step up to the world title. So I believe that's why it doesn't really have the name that it's going to have, but I do believe it's going to come up. The name is going to be brought forward now in a massive way, and I do believe Australia is going to have a lot more world champions too. So I just wanted to clarify that's what I meant on that. That's all.
Okay. All right. So like I said, I wanted to ask you a few predictions. We find out there's a big fight coming, a domestic fight in Australia. Anthony Mundine versus Jeff Horn at a catchweight at 156. What's your thoughts and what's your take, and who you think is going to win in that fight?
A late stoppage by Jeff Horn. Yeah, that's definitely my prediction. I know without a shadow of a doubt Jeff is getting a win. He's getting a shutout win, but I believe he will stop him in the later rounds.
Wow. It's interesting because I don't know if Jeff Horn has ever fought at such a heavy weight. 156 is not even a weight class. I guess Anthony Mundine couldn't make 154, but man, Jeff Horn coming to 154, man, to fight Anthony Mundine. Well, not 154, 156. Yeah. And you to say that's pretty interesting. See him to come all this big weight and to get a stoppage. That's really wow. I'm going to be really.
So I'll tell you that I've been, Jeff's probably been my main sparring partner for the last 5 or 6 years, and even as me as because he's my sparring partner now. We're in the same gym here. And I know Jeff when he's on, and when Jeff is on, like I've gone into spars there with Jeff, and it's just something completely different to anything that you'd feel in a ring, even in fights with other people, So when Jeff turns on, it's just a different ball game, and I don't believe he turned on for Terence Crawford, or either that for his opponent before that as well. He definitely did for Manny Pacquiao, and I believe he's found his fire now again. And I believe when he comes against Mundine, he will be fully on. It will be a spectacle, I believe, and he's definitely getting the win. But I believe he'll come and he'll get a stoppage win for sure.
You think after this fight that Jeff is going to stay at 154 or go back down to welterweight?
Yeah, no, I believe he'll stay at welterweight. He actually makes it quite well. There's a lot of talk about the water he drops, but he drops it quite well. And I mean, it's crazy because in the gym I'm in, which I'm actually in now, the gym I'm in, we're all chatting among each other, and Jeff knows he's a very strong physical welterweight. I mean, he'd be even a strong physical super welterweight, but he does make welterweight quite well. But then you step right outside the gym, and everywhere you hear everyone talking about Jeff going super welterweight, and it's funny. I think lots of people talk about it. I think lots of people would like to see him doing that, but he does make welterweight quite well. So I don't know.
Okay.
It would be quite funny with both of us. Maybe we can share a couple of belts each, maybe in the super welterweight division.
That would be maybe a big fight for y'all as well, man. But my next prediction what you think about Conor McGregor? I don't know if you watch the UFC and thing, but Conor McGregor is having a fight in October with I don't know how to pronounce. Is his name KHABIB? What's his name?
Yeah, KHABIB. Yeah, KHABIB.
Yeah, KHABIB. Right. Who you think will win that fight? Because we haven't seen Conor in the UFC cage in like 2 years. So, what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, yeah. I like so. Conor, I think if Conor had stayed in the UFC and stayed fighting with MMA, I believe that he definitely would be still in his stride and he would be getting a win over KHABIB. I still fancy him because the man is incredible. I know about mindset and this, that, or the other, and I do believe that that he could get a win. I just believe that it would be incredibly difficult this time around because he's got a guy who's in his stride, who's got momentum at his at his feet, and his game, his strength may be what a stand-up fighter's weakness would be. So it's very, very interesting. Look, I believe if anyone has the ability to beat McGregor right now, it would be KHABIB. But I do believe though that somehow McGregor will pull it out of fire because he just seems to be like that. When he turns on as well, it seems that he knows what he's doing, and he may be able to land that big left hand that he lands on all those fellas. That just it seems like when he lands that left hand, the guys just seem to just that's it for them. They're out on their feet if they're still up, and then it's just a steady road downwards until the fight's over. So that's the way I see. That's what I mean. What would your prediction be?
Man, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I know KHABIB has been winning a lot. He's been active. He's been keeping the UFC alive. I think right now, if you take Conor McGregor out there, I think he's the most popular one right now. I think he's keeping the sport really, keeping it really alive. I think KHABIB has been wanting Conor McGregor for a long time. He wants it more. I don't think Conor really wanted to fight KHABIB. I just think it's time for him to step in to a big fight. You know what I mean? And KHABIB was the guy. So I'm not too sure. I hope Conor McGregor wins. But another thing is I don't mind KHABIB winning as well. You know what I mean? But I guess we shall see. But my next prediction I wanted to ask you, Mr. Hogan, man. I wanted to ask you about we're going to see another domestic rivalry, as you could say, called Frampton versus Josh Warrington. Well, what's your take on that matchup?
Well, I can't ever look past Carl Frampton, to be honest, so I'm going to say Frampton on that one. I've had the pleasure of having a training camp with Frampton back in Spain, back 2009. And I remember back then, I didn't really know much. I was an amateur, he was an amateur. But, we all had sparring partners. But I remember seeing something in him back then, and I went, whoa, this is quite special, And I got to know him as well because we were staying in the same house. And I thought, this guy he's tuned in and he really wants it. And then he went back to the Nationals, and he got a brilliant win against a guy, Davey Oliver Joyce, who was on top for a long time. He even dropped him in the process. And I went, whoa, okay. So then he went pro, and the whole way through his career, I can never see him losing, And obviously with that, the one he did lose, which was a close decision to Leo Santa Cruz, I just really wasn't on that night. But I know that he wants to fight with Josh Warrington, and I know he'll come, he'll be on, he'll be ready to go, and I believe he'll get a great win against Warrington, for sure.
Yeah, I really believe that. I really believe Carl Frampton will win that fight, hands down, no debating. I feel like Carl Frampton is just a better fighter, and I don't think Warrington has the power to take Carl Frampton out of his game. So that's why and we all know Carl Frampton is just a better boxer. So, but I'm looking forward to see it. I can't wait. I'm really looking forward to it. But I'm not going to take up too much of your time, Mr. Hogan, man. I really appreciate having you on, man. I've been looking forward to this interview for a while. So thank you, man. I appreciate it, man.
Thank you. It's been great chatting, mate. It's great talking to a guy who's very passionate about boxing, and so it's always very, very interesting to talk to guys that are as interested in boxing as yourself and passionate about it. So thank you very much for your time. Before I go, I'd like to know what your prediction is for GGG and Alvarez.
You know, it's iffy on that fight because we haven't seen Canelo fight in like 1 year. His last fight was September against Triple G, and we saw that he got tested with banned substance, which I forget what actual drug he got tested positive in. You seeing that? Carbuterol. And then the next thing is Canelo got he had surgery. He had surgery on the knee. And then for a big, who would have ever think a lot of fighters would never take a whole year off, not a superstar, take a whole year off and come straight to a huge big fight. That's really commendable, you know what I'm saying? And I think Canelo wants to prove that he wants to prove himself. Triple G has been active because he got a fight in May. So Triple G should, I think in the first fight, I think Triple G should have stopped holding back. I think he was thinking too much. I think he said Canelo punches is not that hard. Well, if that's the case, he needs to rush him. He needs to come forward and let them hands go. I don't want him to be hesitating, fainting a lot. No, you need to let your hands go because the first fight, he didn't really let his hands go like he usually did. He really thought about what he was going to do. Yes, he did a little bit more active than Canelo is, but Canelo has never been like a person that throws a lot of punches. Triple G, if Canelo doesn't throw hard punches as he say, well, he needs to go in gear time and shift to gear 2, gear 3, gear 4. That's what he needs to do in this fight. Canelo, I'm not sure what he can do. I think he's going to try to do what he did last time. Or Canelo saying the same thing, Triple G don't really hit that hard. Well, that's the case. And you saying Triple G always saying he's the Mexican style of fighter, I think, show him that you the real Mexican, that you can come forward and let them bombs drop. Let's see. You know what I mean? I don't want them to hesitate this time. They sold us that it was going to be an action-packed fight, the first fight, and we didn't get that. We got some actual thinkers in the ring. You know what I mean? So we'll see. But this is the best I've ever seen Canelo because he was looking slippery. He was looking a little slick in the fight. So he showed me a little differently. But we'll see, man. I really got it. Yo, most people say Canelo. I'll go with Canelo because, like, the politics and HBO future is for Canelo. So I say Canelo just for the sake of it because Triple G he just has a few fights left and he's gonna retire. So it makes boxing sense if Canelo wins the decision. But if Triple G man does some, so I hope
okay, cool. Because I actually fully believe that Canelo won the last fight, and I'm one of the maybe 10% of the population, that boxing population, that thought that Canelo won. I just was really impressed by his flashiness in the first few rounds. But I know GGG came back to win the last rounds, but it was very close. I was kind of glad it was a draw because we get to see it again. But this time up, I was thinking GGG was going to win it, but I seen a clip of Alvarez doing a bit of really fast shadow boxing, and I went, whoa, this guy is on fire right now. So it's
right.
going to be a close fight. Yeah. So it's just tough to know. I think the real winners are boxing. So boxing fans. So I'm excited about it. But mate, great chatting to you, and thank you so much for your time. And
yes, man.
We'll
there's anything else you want to say before you get out of here, so the fans can look forward to?
I mean, no, not really. I mean, not really. But just keep an eye out for me. I'm going to be world champion soon, and I'm going to be bringing big fights around the world. So, thanks very much for your time, mate. We'll see you soon.
Right. Give out your social media so the fans can follow you. You know, a lot of people that over here that don't know Dennis Hogan and want to know who Dennis Hogan is. Can you give out your social media?
Yeah, cool. Yeah, no, just on Facebook, it's you just type in Dennis Hogan and you'll see the athlete page, and then Twitter is Dennis_Hogan. On Twitter, and Instagram is Dennis Hogan Boxing. So would appreciate you guys getting on there and following me and seeing my career, because we're going to the top. So
right, man. Good luck on your career. I wish you all the best and all the success, man. Stay safe out there, man. Stay safe everywhere. Stay safe in the ring and outside and all that, man. And when your next fight is announced, I want to have you back on our show, man.
Okay, perfect. Sounds good, man. Thank you very much. Take care. See ya.